Everyone has the right to live a life, their life free of fear, abuse, violence, and discrimination, and women inclusive. And that's why we are narrowing this discussion to women this evening. Proverbs 31 verse 25, the NIV version says, she's clothed with strength and dignity. Now the question is, who clothes her with strength and who clothes her with dignity? I want to make it clear to us that God has clothed every woman with strength and with dignity. But it is our responsibility to make those clothing of strength and dignity available for all to see. And that is what this meeting is all about. The Proverbs 31 woman is a woman that understands what dignity means in the totality of it, because she leaves an impression in the life of every person she comes across. Good day once again, and thank you for always being part of our broadcast. Now, dignity simply means that one that has a great sense of value for themselves. But dignity to the human spirit cannot be overemphasized, because it means you putting value and respect on yourself and on what you believe, on who you are, what you believe, and how you live your life. In other words, it simply means treat people the way you want to be treated. With me on this important conversation this day, to my right is Miss Vera. Mrs. Vera, you're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
And on my left is Mrs. Ajibade.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Mrs. Ajibade is a counselor with the Rayuwa SARC initiative. And I believe that she will tell us more about our organization. While Mrs. Vera is an entrepreneur that has walked through so many stages of dealing with children, from toddlers to young adults. And she's here with us this evening. Once again, I welcome both of you to this important conversation.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Ajibade, can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Thank you very much. Rayuwa SAC. Rayuwa itself means life. And the initiative is saddled with the responsibility of ending crimes in every rural area in Nigeria. The meaning of that SAC means Sexual Assault Referral Center. We are trying all we can to curb violence, sexual gender-based violence in the community. Thank you very much, ma'am.
From this, your definition of what your organization does, that means that you are used to cases of abuse.
Very well, ma'am.
But I want to ask you, these cases of abuse that you are used to, have you had cases of women abusing themselves, or just on men and women or spouses abusing themselves?
Several. We have women abusing women. We have men abusing women. We have women equally abusing men, and we have women abusing children.
Wow, that is a very, very big one. May I ask you, Ma, in the cases where you have dealt with women abusing women, how have you been able to handle these cases?
All right. In many cases, we have in-laws abusing maybe the brother's wife, abusing a brother's wife. You know, some people are toxic in characters. Even if their brothers are married, they wouldn't want to let go because of what they've been getting from him before he get married. So they see the wife as somebody that has come to just take away their brother's wealth, that has come to dominate the family. So by so doing, they abuse each other. And in compound, we've seen women that abuse each other's rights. Some people just form some things around them. They become like threats to other women in the society. And we have women abusing husbands. Several cases we've handled.
So in cases of women abusing themselves, that's women abusing women, how have you been able to handle these cases?
By the grace of God, the ones that have not been easy to handle, so to say, is the one that has an undertone of religion. But the one that is just normal social violence, we fault the offender. Sometimes we refer them. There are cases that we will not be able to handle. We refer them to human rights.
So the human rights now take up on the responsibility to make sure that they are being helped through this abuse process,
Yes.
and then help them to get back into the society, I presume.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Ma, what is your opinion about this topic that we are dealing with? Dignity of
right.
womanhood.
My opinion about this, just like you have rightly said, that every woman has the right to live in dignity. I observe that in the society we live in, women are being denied some rights. But we should make a society whereby everybody, we have the right to live without fear of coercion, fear of stigmatization, fear of abusive of whatever form. A woman should live with dignity. She should not be afraid of anything that will affect her dignity or rights as a person.
Thank you so much, Ma. So, which means that what she's saying to us this evening is that every woman should be able to walk tall with her shoulder high, not looking over her shoulder, because she knows that the system of the society is there to protect us. We believe that we'll get there someday. And with the organization, with your type of organization, spreading the good news around will help us to be able to achieve this. Thank you once again. Mrs. Vera, being in the midst of children and teenagers most of the time, I'm sure you have come across children and teenagers that are timid. They don't have self-confidence. They have very low self-esteem. Please, can you explain to our viewers what is responsible for this kind of behaviors, and how have you been able to handle them in time past?
Okay, thank you, Mama. When you talk about timidity, you talk about shyness. Timidity somehow is synonym to shyness. And then in most cases, I want to say like 50% of children that are timid are actually victims from their parents. Why am I saying so? Parents that are authoritative, parents that are overprotective, parents that will not allow their children live life, encounter problems of life, challenges, and overcome it themselves, will always have parents such as those kind of parents will actually have children that become timid in the society. For instance, this generation now, 30 to 40% of mothers, fathers, tend to be very protective of their children. While we were growing up, our parents just empower us. We go out, we mingle with children, you know. When you come back home, I remember coming back home crying back that somebody beat me, and my mother told me that go back and learn to fight for yourself. Now you see parents going out to fight for their children. Parents go to school, challenge teachers. Issues that children, they are normal issues that have to do with growing up. You know, but you know parents want to fight for their children, even as far as university level. Teenagers, you interact with teenagers and hear something like, my mommy said this, my mommy said I can't do that. My daddy said, it's okay for you to be a part of your child's life, but there are certain things that children should be allowed to fight themselves. Now, when God created us, He created us with every energy and every strength we need to overcome anything will come. It's just for us to discover it. Sometimes you're at home with children, and because of your overprotectiveness, because of your authoritativeness, the child cannot even discover him or herself. You know, they are afraid of you as a parent. Oh, this is what I feel like doing, but if I do it, how will my parents' reaction be? This is what I think. You don't allow them to share their opinions. You don't even give them room. You don't see it from their own side. Of course, that child, will, even in the midst of their friends, will become timid. And then for some children, it has to do with genetics. You know, biologically, when it's formation time like that, they could have behavior traits that will. But as a parent, if you discover it, you help your child to overcome it. Let me not also forget to say that teachers at times contribute to that. Like I worked in a school, and what I tell my teachers is, no matter how a child answers a question in class, don't bully the child by shutting the child down.
Yeah, very correct.
For some children, the moment you shut them down, they go back to their shell. And that's the end. But even parents shut children down. As mothers, sometimes unconsciously, your child is trying to bring up something, and you are not even waiting to listen. The moment the child just mentions something you are not okay with, you shout that child down. And for that child, well, you are not ready to listen. So they will keep being in that shell, and even when things are going wrong, they don't have that confidence to talk to you as a parent. Now, if as a parent your child cannot talk to you, there's a problem. That means even you as a parent, something is wrong somewhere. We live in a generation where children are vocal, not in the past. If we had grown up the way our parents brought us up, I'm sure we will not even achieve what we have.
Yeah, very true.
Where if you want to talk,
true.
your mother will look at you and you keep quiet. These days it's not like that. Children want to express themselves. So give them the room. Talk to them. Prayer time. Appoint them. You today you are leading. Tomorrow you are reading the Bible. Give them tasks so that when they come out of the society, they can express themselves freely and mingle with every other person. And then fight the ills of the society. The society is gradually shutting down. So if we don't empower our children from home, from school, then there's a problem.
A very big problem. Thank you so much. So it is our responsibility to always make sure that we help our children to discover themselves and also help them to be able to express themselves, because the society that we are in now is not friendly, and you can't be everywhere your children are. You can't be there most of the time. So you've got to teach them the values that are necessary from the house. So we are talking about you teaching your children godly values. And not only that, let them be able to stand for their rights, especially the girl child. I'm not putting a stigma on the girl child alone, but most of the time we find out that timidity occurs most of the time with the girl child. It's very rare occasion that you see a boy being timid. Even if they are, you find them, they will fight it out and make sure they stand out. So we encourage parents, be the best parent you can for your children and help them so that they can help the society. With the help of technology, where the world has now become a global village, and by press of a button, you can always put out there on the social media whatsoever you think, howsoever you want it to be read. And most of the time, there are lots of drama that are being said, either through frictions or these dramas are the reality that are happening in our everyday life. We thank God for technology, because technology is making us to understand now what the danger has been that we have not in time past. It looks like it never existed, but now it's gradually becoming a monster. And we are talking about no other events but the vices of the girl child or women that are being raped of their dignity. And that is where the center focus of this meeting is this evening. Now, I've read so many stories on social media, and I'm sure both of you have read so many stories on social media. But the one that actually broke my heart is this 16 or 17-year-old girl that was taken from her village and was brought to the town for exchange of her education. Now, that broke my heart. She was brought from the village to the town with the promise of being educated while she helped in the house chore. It shows, well, there's nothing wrong, it's an exchange. But where it didn't sit well with me was when the man of the house groomed her into a sex toy. Now, for me, that's heartbreaking. And when I mean groom, he took his time, started touching her breast, touching all her private part, then took her to the red streets of the city they live in and show her what the people on the red streets do and how they make money. Then took her back home, disvirgined her, and raped her. It wasn't a one-time rape. It was a continuous rape. And for me, that is really very heartbroken. But that's not the most painful part of this story. The most painful part of this story is when the lady summoned the courage to cry to the wife of this man to explain to him what has been going on. And the wife could only tell her, save my marriage. Keep quiet about it. Have tried to understand why. And I've asked myself so many questions. Part of the questions that I've asked myself is that, is this actually a marriage? Mrs. Vera, and I want to ask you the same thing. Is this a marriage? Will you call this a marriage?
In as much as I want to say it's not a marriage, it's still a marriage. Reasons being that I want to begin from the part where you talked about dignity. And I wouldn't want to separate dignity from signature. I would also want to add purpose to it. Now, for that woman, it could happen to anybody. But if as a woman, you know what you stand for, you know when it is wrong, it is wrong. When it is right, it is right. For that thing to have continued for a very long time under her nose, that means she was not a good woman. Because there is no way that she wouldn't have seen something, somehow. She must have seen it somewhere. But now, at her own end, she's trying to protect her marriage, not looking at the young woman whose life has already been scattered. Now, scandals like this can come up. Nobody prays for it. All manner of scandals come up in marriages, and then I will still say, as a woman, if you know what you stand for, that is truth, you will stand for it, even in the presence of your husband. Probably she's afraid. All she cares about is covering her marriage, the dent, what people will say, at the end of the day, to be a stigma or something. But she's not looking at the ripple actions. The young woman's life has been bastardized. To her, it's nothing. All she cares about is her marriage. At the end of it, it's just her marriage, nothing else. So she wants to keep her marriage at the expense of somebody's life who has been bastardized. Initially, when I read through that story, I was thinking, if the girl, was it that she couldn't summon courage to talk about it even from the beginning when it started? But when I read to the point and discovered that she actually told her madam that this is it, then there's a problem. From the beginning, there's a problem. It's not just with the girl that is a help. The marriage itself has a foundational problem. Because if the woman cannot stand up and tell her husband, I've seen women leave their homes. I've seen a physical story, where the woman walked out of her marriage because her husband pregnanted her sister.
Wow.
And it was tug of war for the family. But she walked out. At least that alone gave the sister a manual reset and a husband. The sister lived with regrets, even though the child she gave birth to eventually died. But that thing is there, and then she left her home. It's not that we are encouraging women to leave their marriages. But there are some things as a woman, you stand for something. If your husband knows that you are a sensitive woman, you stand for something, you are always up and doing, you know your purpose, you know your signature, you stand by it. There are some things that don't happen. There are some things that no matter, even when it starts, you sense it. So you are quick to curb it. The men will say the women are the weaker vessel. But for me, the men are actually the weaker vessels.
I like that.
Yes, in the sense that the temptation that a woman can cross very easily, a man falls for it at the snap of light. The moment the temptation is just flying, he has already grabbed it. But a woman goes through all manner of temptations, and she has, as for a woman who knows her values. Sorry, I've seen women in this generation.
But don't you think that this particular story is more or less of economical power, as in the woman, the background she's coming from, and everything is being provided by this man. So how is she going to allow this marriage to crumble, because it's going to affect her whole family? I want to believe, because there's a saying that says hurt people hurt people. So I want to believe that this is just a collateral damage. You understand? If that's what's going to take, then you too, you are getting your own pay, which is that you are being sent to school, while me too, my family is being taken care of.
The woman is selfish. The woman is selfish. Because now, with the economy and everything that we are facing, no matter how tough it is, I don't see myself, covering a sin as big as that for a husband. Because I feel that my benefits might not come to me, my family name, what he's providing, he will not provide. It's our own state of mind. And then, Mama, seriously, I want to say, again, it is knowing what you stand for.
And that's what dignity is all about.
It's knowing what you stand for. Because if the man knows, regardless, if he provides everything from A to Z, and he knows that you still stand for something, he won't play with it. They look at us, our husbands, we look at them like we think they don't study us. They know us as much as our children know us. So they study us day in, day out. And they know the things they can do and get away easily with. They know the things that if they do, the woman reacts to. They know the things that if they do, if we beg her, she will keep quiet. So, but then if you know you stand for something, whether economic or whatever, yes, the economy is eating everybody. But it's not a yardstick for you to shut down somebody else's life at your own expense, at your own selfish interest. It doesn't work like that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that contribution. So we must all know what we stand for. And not only what we stand for, we must also help the weak to be able to stand strong, irrespective of what we are gaining from it. So, Mrs. Ajibade, I'm coming to you again. How do we prevent a reoccurrence of this kind of scenario from happening? What do you think that the girl should have done, even after she reported to her madam, and the madam told her to keep quiet, apart from reporting to someone, put it on social media? What do you think she should have done?
Thank you very much, Ma. You see, sometimes when you are not close to some things, you feel they are feebles. You think they are just stories from the blues.
Yes.
We have stories and cases like that, that are close to me, that they are not things that anybody from. I've handled cases like that. But there's one thing she said that I really love, and that's what I stand for. Having a signature as a woman.
Yeah.
Let everybody around know what you stand for.
Yes.
And again, we should inculcate in our female children, whether we are rich or not, that they are not commodities, they are treasures.
Yes.
Thank you. Dignity that we are talking about is what more important than wealth. Now, how to curb or prevent such? Let everybody in the society know, like our own organization, we are voice to the voiceless. I've seen cases whereby a neighbor came to report. Eventually, the person he came to report happened to be his blood sister. Wow. And we took the matter up. A girl that came to stay with somebody, she has been with this woman while she was 6 years, and now she's 17. The husband is abusing her, and they wanted to sweep it under the carpet. Thank God.
6 years?
Yes, from 6 years.
Wow.
And the woman knows
11
good years, and she knows that her husband is violating the girl. Let everybody know that there is consequence for every action. And what the girl should do, if she has tried relating it to her madam and she sees that the woman is not dancing to her own tune, she should come out to report. In the community, she should say it out. She should not die in silence. We have people now that are helping out in this type of situation. Like in our own case, the woman said she wanted to return the girl. You cannot return her like that. You must put her back. the way you brought her.
Wow.
And when we started the case, they were thinking it's going to be a minor thing. The man slept behind the bars for days.
Really?
Yes, in Mina. He had to sleep behind bars. Let everybody know that there are consequences and there's penalty for such crime. So that people will not just... And for a girl child, let's teach them to be contented with whatsoever thing they have.
Yes.
Though in that girl's story, she's handicapped because there's nothing she can do as per maybe taking care of herself, but she can speak out to maybe neighbors. If she's a Christian, maybe to the church. There are people she will, respect in the church. If she cannot go straight to the pastor, in the community, there are people we know that they have what it takes to maybe take the case up. The girl should report to such people.
Thank you so much. So, this is to bring to our notice that violating either the girl child or the boy child has its own penalty, as we have heard from our counselor here. Never you think that you can go away with any form of abuse, either to a child or to an adult. There are government organizations and private organizations that you can reach out to, that they will be able to help you. They can't get back what you have lost, but definitely they will make sure that the person, the perpetrator of these laws, are kept under bars or taken to a rehabilitation center before bringing them back into the society. Once again, we appreciate you for that. And Mrs. Vera, we also appreciate you for all your input. So may I say to both of you, do you have any last word, starting from you, Mrs. Ajibede, on this dignity of womanhood to help our viewers further?
Thank you very much, Ma. I want every woman to know that we have rights to live and that we are not a mistake in creation. We are mysteries. We should have it at the back of our mind that we are not living in the men's world. We have the right to live our life the way God has ordained it to be. We should stop making ourselves look cheap in the face of anything. And what will help a woman is to be empowered. If you are emotionally empowered, financially empowered. What do I mean by being emotionally empowered? Psychologically, as a woman, you should know who you are. Know what you stand for. That you are not a commodity as a person. You are essential. You are something that everybody should place value on. Don't let anybody abuse your personality because you are a woman. And I know when everybody stands for this, it will go a long way to help our society. It will go a long way to help our girls' children, that they are not living in a perverse world just to fulfill somebody's mandate, but the mandate of God that has created them. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Vera.
Thank
Could
you.
you just say a little bit more about the story before you say your last word?
Okay, for the story, I really think, like you said, economic values, a lot of girl child now are being into exchange of, housemaid and all that. And then because of the dangers in the society, even for those that live in the village, I'm sure they've been hearing stories. So before you release your child, empower your child, especially the girl child. Make them know that whatever ill they've been taken against them wherever they are going to work or stay, they should have a voice. They should be able to stand for what is right. They should know that being a woman is being a strong being. Right from creation, God created us. Yes, he created us as helpmates. But I tell you, he knew why he created the woman as helpmate. Because he knew that without the woman, the man cannot live. So that makes a woman a stronger version of the being. So in your homes, each time, especially with the girl child, now I'm emphasizing on the girl child because the society seems to be more not favorable to the girl child. The boy child is also being abused, but the percentage is very low. And the girl child is at the risk. So your child could not, maybe even abuse cannot be necessarily as mates. Women are abused even in marriages, and they don't speak up. Women are abused in the midst of their fellow women, and they can't speak up. You know, there are all forms of abuse, a lot. So as a woman again, I still say that you should know what you stand for. Beginning from your 2-year-old child, tell them, empower them, make them know that when you grow up, fight for what is right. Be yourself. Know what you want. Know your values as a woman. Know your values as a girl child. No matter where you find yourself, regardless the thing that happened to you, if you understand your values, I know that no matter how bad it becomes, you'll find your way somehow above it. And again, I want to say that with the way the society is going, every day I read stories and I begin to wonder. You see women burning their husbands, women pouring hot water, young women, marriages of 6 months, marriages of 1 year, women killing themselves. A lot needs to be done. What it simply means is mothers are not sitting up. When a child is ripe for marriage, you give the child the exact tutoring they need. You don't give them the positive side of marriage. There's always the other side. So if a girl child is going into marriage prepared, no matter what they see, they'll be able to stand it. You see, women kill themselves because my husband is dating somebody. My husband gave birth with somebody else. And then it becomes an issue that you go and kill yourself, you kill your partner. It doesn't arise. Are we saying our parents didn't go through things like that? Our parents went through worse sad things. Like you said, technology has kept us abreast with time. So we are seeing these things now. And it's looking like it never happened before. It has been happening.
Yeah.
It has been happening. Let's empower our children. Let's make them know that marriage is not a bed of roses. Marriage is where you meet the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, when you see the good, you rejoice. When you meet the ugly, you sit up and adjust and fight. So you don't give up at every slight of fire. You see a woman, I'm not married. A young woman was telling me 6 months after her marriage, she came to my place and she was like, she doesn't understand her husband. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. And then when she finished talking, I asked her, you wedded in October. In January, you're complaining. I don't understand why you're complaining. It's too early for you to start complaining. My mother was married to my father. I remember getting married 6 years, and one day I told my mom that, I don't understand this, my husband. And she looked at me and she laughed. Then they were 45 years in marriage.
Wow.
And you know what she told me? I've been married to your father for 45 years. For every passing day, I learn a new thing about him. And
That's
her
huge.
statement kept me mute. That means, what am I complaining about? If a woman who is married for 45 years is telling me that every passing day, she learns a new thing about her partner, it's the same. The man also learns from the woman. So it's not just about the men, even the women. So when your girl child comes of age and then is ripe for marriage, you prepare them so that when they see situations like this that the woman saw in her marriage, she already has a mind that is prepared. She knows how to battle it. She knows how to combat it. She's not going to run to cover her marriage because she doesn't want shame. But we keep telling our children that, it will be well. Oh, yes, it will be well. You will not see problem. Problems will come. The problems are meant to make them better. I tell my husband, the more we fight, the better we get to know ourselves. The more we fight, the more we understand our weaker parts, and then we get better. But this young generation, they don't even want to hear anything like that. They feel it's a bed of roses. Nothing is stopping it. If it is not rosy, then it's not okay. We should empower our children, both male and female. And then we should live a life that they will emulate.
It's worthy of being an example.
Our children are who we are. I say it every single day. I watch my children. I watch their attitude. I watch their behavior. I watch how they interact with people. And I take a look at myself. They are exactly what we are.
Yeah,
so your children,
they are, in other words, we are,
as a parent,
our life is a mirror.
yes,
for
it's
them.
a mirror for them. So as parents, we should live what we want our children to live tomorrow. If we live a reckless life today, we might think they are not watching, but they are watching. Tomorrow they are married, they will tell you that this is what they know, this is what they saw. It's not their fault. It's what they have seen. The more you talk about this thing in your homes, the better. Some parents shy away from talking about these things. When I see stories like this, I call my daughter, I say, read it. And then when she reads, she'll be like, if it is me, I say, calm down. It can be anybody. The woman did not pray for it. But if you are empowered, by the time challenges like this come, you are ready for it. And the Holy Spirit directs you instantly on how to go about it. Again, let's put God in our homes. Challenges come in different packages. You don't bargain for them, they come. But when they come, you ask for the grace to jump it, to overcome the temptations. It's not easy. I feel the pain of the woman. I'm just imagining myself being in her shoes, confusion. What do I want to think? A friend of mine just some weeks ago told me of a story in her family house. Her sister-in-law was off for like 2 months. So they sent a girl to live to take care of her children. And within that 2 months, the little girl that went to help them at home called this my friend, because she's an auntie to the girl, to say the husband of the sister-in-law makes advances at her, touches her indiscriminately. And she was afraid.
Do you know the funny part of this abuse always starts with a touch?
Yes.
Always with a touch.
Always with a touch. So when she said it to my friend, my friend became afraid, because the young woman was in her house doing one program for 2 months, and then she's the one that arranged her little niece to go and stay there and take care of the children. So when the girl said that to her, she didn't know what to do. She quickly told her husband that this is what your sister's husband is doing to the little girl. It's not like she's a little girl. She's like 18. And then the man was like, all the herbs that have been coming have been succumbing to him. So, it's like a normal tradition. But the wife is always not there. She's a medical person. So it's all about her work. And then unfortunately, their little daughter saw one of the moves the man made with the girl. So when the mother came back, she told the mother. And it was like the home was going to scatter. She will not do this. The girl is this, the girl is that. She called this my friend, and she was ripping brimstone. And my friend told her, calm down. Calm down. All this catching fire is not the solution. This thing started from somewhere. A lot has been happening under your nose that you have not been seeing, because it's career.
So are you now saying that women that have career should not pursue their career?
That is not what I'm saying. The home front is your first career as a woman.
Thank you for that statement. Please, can you say it again?
The home front is your first career as a woman. If anything goes wrong, it will still be you that will shoulder it. So why don't you get it right? If your husband is making advances at housemates, that means there's a problem somewhere. It's either that your career keeps you so tired and busy that even the right of the man is not given to him. And so for every passing thing under skirt, he jumps at it. So you can do your career and also make your home work.
You can bring a balance between your career and your home front.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Sorry, even though I told you that was your last word, it just occurred to me now that we have been talking of abuse. And I'm sure there are some of our viewers that just thought that the only form of abuse that exists is the sexual abuse. And working with the kind of organization you work with, I believe that you will be able to enlighten our viewers on the different type of abuses that exist.
All right. We have several types of abuses. We have physical abuse. We have emotional
Can
abuse.
you explain each one as you were saying?
All right. For physical abuse, it degenerates into maybe throwing blows, beating each other. That's for physical abuse. We have emotional abuse, that maybe psychologically you catch somebody in a particular place. Emotionally, you are actually spending on the person, But emotionally, the person doesn't have emotion of his own. The spouse is in control of the person's emotion. And we have something they call modern slavery. This story is classified under modern slavery.
Modern slavery
Yes. Abuse.
Wow.
Yes. And another form of abuse we have is financial abuse. We have sexual abuse. That's the one everybody knows.
Yes.
And another form of abuse we have again.
Can you expatiate on the financial abuse?
Financial abuse, like the instance that was cited during the singles program we just finished now. The woman is the one that is the financier, but the husband is the spender. So
that's a form of abuse.
Yes, financial. And we have bullying, whereby a spouse bullies. Sometimes what usually causes this is maybe the spouse is not educated. So the one that is more educated or social tries to bully the one that is less privileged. And again, we have, under that modern slavery, is the one of house girl, is the one of parents. There are forms of parenting that is not properly done, and you enslave your children. Like she rightly said, we should give our children listening ears.
So you are telling us this thing that we parents can abuse our children.
Yes, parents abuse their children.
That is, we can
Aside
abuse them
abusing them sexually, we have fathers that abuse their children sexually. Aside abusing them emotionally too, you know, sometimes we try to lord things over our children. We cage their own emotions, we cage their rights. We don't balance it. Even if you are trying to tell a child not to do something, let the child have the understanding of why he or she should not do. And in some cases, we lure these children into suffering, battering from other people. Because when they are explaining to you and refuse to give them a listening ear, someone else outside is giving them even practically.
Wow.
So it leads them to sexual abuse from another person.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewers, for joining us on this edition. Everyone has the right to fulfill his or her own potential, given to them by God, either young, old, poor, rich. Irrespective of what your status is or are, it is your right to fulfill your potentials on the face of the earth. Please, don't take away this right from anybody because you are a little bit, maybe financially fit more than them. Help someone to achieve their dream, and by so doing, we will be helping this society. It's our responsibility to pick up the weak among us. It's our responsibility to be the voice to the voiceless, not just the Rayua organization. In Matthew chapter 25, verse 40, before that verse, they came to Jesus and they said, I gave you to drink, I gave you to eat, I clothed you when you didn't have. But verse 40 is what is the crux of our drawing our curtain this evening. The Bible records that, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, whatsoever you have done to each of these ones, you have done it also to me. So it's not just about your own right. It's you helping someone to understand their own right. Thank you for joining us on the Vessels of Gold, the Balanced Breed edition. We'll be here next week, Monday, on the second part of Dignity of Womanhood by 5 p.m. That's at the Great House Assembly Hall. Please kindly come with your friends. And the Monday after that, we have our prayer meeting tagged My Voice, My Signature. We also want you to come so that we can pray together to make our society a better society. Once again, keep sharing, keep liking, and keep your comments coming. We enjoy to hear from you. Thank you. God bless you.